All right, we'll call the LEPC meeting to order, and we'll start the meeting. Today on our agenda, we need to approve the October 17th, 2024 meeting minutes. You should have received those in the email that I sent you all. Do we have any additions or subtractions to that?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to our fiscal report. Again, in your packets, you should have received the fiscal report that we submitted to state in 2024, as well as the 2025 proposed budget. And Clint, while I have you here, the budget that I sent everybody, I did a change on, and I have a new proposed budget. Basically, I had $600 in the internet service line item. I really don't need that through the LEPC, so I moved that $600 to equipment for a total of $1,000. And then the emergency notifications, we moved down to $25 as well, and then just took the internet service down to $25. I think it's more important that if there's a piece of equipment we need for hazmat or something like that, I'd rather have it in that line item than try to move it because it requires an additional appropriations to move it according to the county auditor. So, does anybody have any questions about the budget or the report that we submitted?
So it says that we got 3,800 and change from the state. Is that gonna be about what we get every year? Is that,
It should be
well, they need to
roughly.
play catch up. So.
Yeah. So, and typically, I think when we got that, it was in June, sometime in June. They're in no hurry to get that money out to us. I'm hoping that we get that again, at least that, but that's typically what it is. All right, if there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the
I'll make the
treasurer's
motion.
report.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business, since this is a new year, we really don't have any old business to wrap up. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is new business. I would like to open nominations to replace John Clark's position. And at the same time, I would like to nominate Jeff Griffin to fill that spot. He works with me in emergency management. He works with the police department, sheriff's department on Spillman as well as Kelly. And I think he'd be a good fit to fill that communities group spot.
I'll second that motion.
You would have to make the motion.
I did.
You can as chair, can you? It doesn't,
The chair, I can nominate. Yeah, you want to make a motion?
yeah, I'll make the motion, we accept, replace
John Clark.
John Clark with Jeff Griffin. And
Big
Mike
shoes to
second.
fill.
So I've already talked to Jeff as well, and then we'll do the vote right after I say this. I talked to him, he said he would be happy to help, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion before we vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, commodity flow study. So we was approved, Fayette County Emergency Management was approved for a grant, hazardous materials grant, to conduct a commodity flow study and then to purchase some chairs and tables for our classroom and EMA office. I have the flow study document. What that entails is this Resilient Strategies was awarded that commodity flow study to develop it, and they will send a person down. but they need a committee of people from the LEPC to help with that commodity flow study. And what they will do is they'll study the traffic patterns of what chemicals come in and out of Fayette County during high travel times, typically, rush hour, what that looks like in Connersville and Fayette County. And then they'll develop this flow study to let us know what's coming in and out of our county. The reason we're doing this is because I want to use that data to help us drive our exercises
Right.
that we have to do every year. And if we know what's coming in and we can plan on if we had an incident that involves some of those hazardous materials, we'd be better prepared to deal with that. So I wanted to talk to you all about that. If you have questions about it, I have all the documents in my office. But I'm happy to let you have this document here that Resilient Strategies sent me. Waiting on the budget to populate in our software through the county so I can actually get the chairs and tables ordered. We can meet in my office to discuss this, but I am looking for volunteers for that committee.
What's the time commitment?
I think it's just gonna be a few days of helping to watch traffic and document probably placards on vehicles.
Can't you do that with camera?
We could, yes, but I don't know that they may bring, I haven't talked to them enough to know what they're gonna actually do. They may bring cameras down, set them up. But yeah, it should be documented with pictures, so.
So you're requesting a committee to like oversee that project?
Yeah.
Crickets.
Do what?
Crickets.
Yeah, typically.
I think if people aren't present, then they should be nominated.
So is this taking pictures of vehicles and/or,
Truck, semis, they'll also do
Just
rail.
recording the placards on
Yeah.
rail cars and
Mhm.
trucks.
Do you have a way to do that from 911?
well, no. There's a way to do it, just randomly, but we can't do that either, so.
Yeah.
If you need like help doing the surveys or whatever, a day or two, that's fine, I'll do that. Don't have a lot of extra time to commit right now. When are you looking for this to start?
So once I've got to send them back the check to get this even moving forward. Like I said, yeah,
Several months out.
I think I would like to have something done, no later than March. Just simply that way we can plan our exercise a little bit better around that. So Clint will help, I'll be there, I'll be helping with it as well.
I mean, I
Yeah, I don't mind to help.
I don't want to boot anybody out if anyone has a burning desire, but
Well, and it's something too that I think I can get Jeff Griffin to help with and all his downtime.
So are you looking, what's in the county? You've got that information. Are you just inventorying pass-through
It'll
stuff?
be, yeah, people bringing chemicals passing through, whether they're dropping them off or delivering. And they're also gonna look at the railroad system,
Yeah.
so.
All right.
Wouldn't there be a log if there was hazardous materials coming through? Isn't there any burden to notify?
It depends.
Like
So they
CSX?
may have to notify IDHS if it's a certain amount.
Okay.
Depends on the level of hazard.
Right.
Okay.
So,
I was gonna say, if you need somebody to go get the logs, I'll go get the logs.
but if you're talking a fuel tanker driving through,
Right.
hazardous cargo, but how many fuel tankers go through the city on
Sure.
a daily basis?
Right.
I'm sure there's significant.
right,
Yeah, you'll need more data than 1 or 2 days to get a good
Yeah.
idea.
yeah.
That's why I'm thinking cameras.
Well, and I'm not sure that this company does these all over the state.
Surely they got an easier way to do it.
I'm sure they
Standing out there
do.
and
I just
watching
don't know
trucks.
what that process is.
I have
so.
ADHD, I can't stand out there and watch trucks.
Yeah.
It's not in my DNA.
All right, so, it looks like Clint will help, the twins. And then.
Much more hair
We'll
than
get,
that.
we'll get Jeff to
Yeah,
help.
mine's gray though.
I'll help, so. All right, any other questions on the commodity flow study? Our next agenda item is picking a date for the hazardous materials exercise. I have to have this turned in to be compliant with Sarah Title II legislation and IDHS guidelines. So we need to pick a date. And then last year I wasn't able to make it. We had a death in the family. But I'd really like to work this commodity flow study into our exercise, even if we're still crawling before we walk, so to speak. And then next year, I'm applying for the same grant to do a full functional exercise. And hopefully we get approved for that, so.
I think first thing that comes to my mind on picking a date is are we incorporating the school corporation to where we would have any kind of school evac or anything like that?
I don't think for this exercise we will. I know Scott Jones mentioned that St. Gabriel's would like to be involved in it. So I think we might get somebody from St. Gabe's to be on that committee to help plan for the exercise.
That makes sense.
And they're right there next to the railroad, so I'm thinking if we design our study based on a tabletop or something like that, where we're actually moving pieces around on the board to signify what we're doing. And then as it progresses, we can start looking at doing bigger exercises.
Do we have any data available on how many derailments happen that don't lead into a release? Is there more that happen without a release than with?
I believe there's a national database on all rail incidents.
Right.
We would probably have to parse through that data to find what happened with that incident.
I'd be
Or
curious
for
to know,
specific.
because I would say there's a lot of incidences that don't lead to a release.
Well, we've had one incident here in the last year,
Yeah.
so, and luckily it was a corn cart, so wasn't nothing major, but
Right.
Wouldn't the NTSB have to investigate any of those?
I think it depends if it's something
The
that.
scale of it?
Surely a railroad association of some kind would have some data.
Yeah, I believe they would, so. And then, again, we're gonna need an exercise committee, for this. Last year, it was Jennifer, Chad Ritberger, and myself.
Jennifer did a great job.
She's always good at it. I'd like to keep her on helping with that. If there's any other volunteers, if not, I'll send this out in an email and see which other members that aren't here today might volunteer.
Who else helped Jennifer? Was it Dennis?
Dennis. And then we always usually get Wayne County to bring their EMA people in, and they kind of are the ones that watch over it, make sure it's going the way it's supposed to. They provide a report at the end that we submit to the state, so. We're required by law to have this exercise. It's part of LEPC, so.
It can be a good thing if it's done right. It can help.
Right.
I don't mind being on the committee. I'd like to see it after the summer break if possible. If we could do it like September.
Last year we did October.
Yeah.
The last 2 years we've done October.
Right. I like doing them later in the year
Yeah.
because it gives us more time to plan, and especially if we're having this commodity flow study done in the early
Yeah.
part of the year, it gives us more time to plan around it, so.
Just thinking temperature might be more accommodating and
Now, I think
You don't like this
eventually,
temperature?
No, there is no temperature, Clint, that's a problem.
Yeah,
When it says 0, that's my problem.
yeah. We don't seem to have one.
I think eventually, as we start ramping those exercises up and get into more field exercises, that we may want to pay attention to the weather some at that time, but right now, October is fine. We don't want to get into holidays around Thanksgiving, so.
Let me pull up the
Say as
calendar.
long as we stay away from the fall break
Right.
week.
Third week of October usually, isn't it?
I don't remember.
It's April. Okay, October. You're wanting a weekday, you said?
Yeah, typically, the last time we did it, I believe it might have been a Thursday around 10 a.m.
What would October 9th look like?
Any-
You got Columbus Day the following Monday, then you're gonna start getting into trunk or treats and all that stuff towards the end of the month.
You want a motion?
It needs to be,
You made a motion, I'll second the motion for the
Okay.
9th.
Yeah, October 9th of 2025,
at what time?
10 a.m.
All right, so Clint made the motion, Clint Harden, second.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. All right, that concludes our actual agenda. However, I do have one other thing I wanted to talk to everybody about. This is something Kelly and I and Chad Ritberger and Scott, we've all been working on. We had our county attorney reach out to SBA Communications. They responded immediately, and now we have a process to where we need to send any of our repair technicians up the tower. There's some forms that they need to fill out. So we've been struggling getting access to that to go up and fix those, but now we have a way to get that done. There's two options. One, they can fill out a form, which I brought with me, so everybody can look at it if they want. And then I could,
Get one from you.
and I could submit on their behalf, but I need them to fill the form out and send it to me. Or two, they can go straight on SBA's website, register as a business with them, and then put the information in for our tower site. And once they do that, then the system automatically approves them going up and working on our antenna. So I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.
I just sent email today, the ECS, Mike will be here the 5th of February to do the tutorial on the Tony channel. So I'll get one of those from him so he can sign it, fill it out.
Okay.
They may already be registered too.
I tried to look them up and I didn't see them. And I also looked up Tech Electronics, which was the agency Scott Jones gave us. I couldn't find them in there either, so.
So once we got them to answer us, it wasn't that big of a deal.
No. So it was just, but once the attorney sent the email, I mean, it wasn't 5 minutes later the guy responded.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
From
on this
SBA.
form, okay, who's liable for when they do the tower repairs? Is it SBA or that form saying it's,
So they have to be insured to be able to go up there. So if
Okay.
they damage something, it's on that company that damaged it.
okay, but if they fall off the tower, then what?
That's still.
They die.
Oh,
It's a 300-foot tower.
Yeah.
That
They should,
escalated quickly.
Huh?
That escalated.
300 feet,
Yeah.
million?
It's not-
so there
that's not
is,
pretty.
so in this document, there's actually,
They're probably more concerned with, because of the amount of equipment, especially the cell phone equipment that I'm sure is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Someone damaging that, so
Right.
that's probably more what they're
That's
worried about than
probably
anything.
more of it.
so there's certain guidelines they have to click off on this form to say they agree with. So, and it goes into quite a bit of detail about that.
Okay.
What was the company name?
SBA Communications. So, and it is they have Verizon up there on that tower, so they are very particular about just letting anyone go up there, so they're not opposed to us hiring a contractor or a vendor to go up and do the work. They just have to follow SBA's steps. So it is their tower, so I understand that,
I see that.
so.
That was just discussion.
That was just discussion.
Reminder, next meeting, March 20th, 2025 at 2 PM. Going to be here. That is the day before my birthday. I accept any forms of gifts. Whatever you feel like bringing and buying, money's fine. So,
When is it?
March-
The meeting, not your birthday,
March 20th.
March 20th.
My birthday's before that, so you're gonna, if they might spend all the money on me, so.
All right, anybody else have anything?
No, but I love the information on the tower.
So I'll get with you after this meeting and actually go over it with you, so
That
that
was
was my
not the
plan.
direction I thought it was gonna end up going.
Yeah,
Yeah, great, I'm glad.
yeah, I am as well, so we can get this, get it fixed,
Get
so.
it done.
All right, I have nothing else on the agenda.
Motion to close.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Aye, I'm sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Some
opposed?
Information is
All right,
everything.
we're adjourned. Thank you, John.